Trying to well, I guess it's probably less expensive today than it would have been the other day, but trying to get enough consumables so I don't have to worry about it for a while. I'm not going to use them in the heroics or anything just because it's expensive. We got a bunch of Dranic Wisdoms, a bunch of spell things that I can make. Keep a few of these just in case you do want to do a heroic with them. We got all that, all that, all that. Fire potions next to my stam gear, so don't forget this week. Alright. Well, restart. Wow. Take your time, Mr. Warcraft. Fucking running. The reason why is because my headphones. I forgot to unplug them. There it is. I guess it was working before. I guess that's. shitty. Like yesterday we couldn't find any tanks and there were only healers and DPS. Now there's all DPS and tanks and no healers. Strange how that works. Come on now. Thursday Raid Dads is the game or the name of that guild. Hello? Let me guess, the hard nether, the nether is reserved or whatever? Well, now. No! They didn't have a hard reserve on the nether either. Underbog. Didn't I do underbog earlier? Was that? Oh, that's right. I do need to. Here we go. Underbog. Anyway. God damn it. I just log off, dude. Normally it's quicker than this, but it's also later in the evening, or earlier in the morning, rather, than normal. Or later in the morning, but earlier than I normally get on. Whatever. You get what I'm saying. Lame. Don't really want to PvP or anything either. There ain't shit to do. So I might just log off and sitting here with my mouth open looking for a group all day, right? I don't know if it's if I stream directly through my goddamn speakers that it always removes the video, or if I play it on my TV. Alexa, open Spotify. Let's see. I thought I had my remote with me somewhere. If I don't, I guess I still have to select something. Okay, Alexa, play liked songs on Spotify. God, dude. Let me just. Hello. God damn it. Son of a bitch, dude. It's just that hour, I guess. Yeah, I don't agree with like hard reserving. I understand like if you put a raid group together like a Karazhan group and you're like all guildies and you all have more gear than you need and all that stuff to do the instance super quick and you're a pug, you know what I mean? I get that, but I think five man like if we can join a group and go, I'm not joining unless I get so, you know what I mean? It's like come on now. You know what I mean? It's like and now they've got to the point where they're going, well, we want all the we want all the blues or and all the greens, right? You're like, why? You know, we all can use those. Like people like I understand if you're like boosting a group maybe and the other people agree to it. I don't necessarily like the fucking unless you get like all the way to start to fucking killing shit and then they say like, oh well we talked about it and I see the chat. I'm like, yeah, I guess I didn't pay attention or whatever, but I think open roll is the fairest way to do this shit. Hello. Is no one headed here? They're all still in the outlands. Like look at this. It could be fucking talk about fucking Lost Roman Legion. I'm fucking like way on the other side of the goddamn planet now. Team, hello. Can you find your way towards me? We have an instance to do. Yes, perfect. Legionnaire, rather. A whole legion is more than one, right? Lost Legionnaire. Between 4,200 and 5,500 was a legion. Generally contained between 4,200 and 5,500 heavily armed legionnaires, right? Legionnaires are one individual. Legion is a. I know. I'm thinking of Centaurians. Centaurians because they served 100 years. That's right, right. It wasn't the numbers; it was the years that they were supposed to serve, right? Centaurians, and then the Centaurians signed a 100-year contract, right? And then the Scientologist signed a 1 billion-year contract. Oh yeah, the Nether Vortexes for tier 3 weapons. Yeah, man, that's when the game gets fun because that tier 3 fucking hammer and sword and all that shit are super good. That Holy Grail. Yeah. We haven't seen a Dragon Spine trophy drop yet, really. We've done Gruul like fucking 15 times or how many weeks the game's been out. Every week we've done it, we haven't seen it drop yet. Sucks. I got up at 3 this morning. My raid's at 8 p.m. tonight, so I'm gonna be tired as shit by 11 if I don't take a nap sometime. So I'll probably have to take a nap, and I really need to like just like getting up super early because by the time the sun's out, like if you try to sleep through it, it's like the fucking light screams at you, you know, like you know, like oh, like I can hear it in my head when I sleep, you know, and it's super annoying. So I try to sleep as much as possible if I can, right? But then the sun comes up, but it's easier to get the right amount of sleep if you don't have to fucking fight the goddamn sunlight while you're trying to sleep and all that. There's a Zul'Farrak. I fucking really, if I level an alt, I should do the actual like leveling instead of like paying to boost my character for like however many $40 or whatever it is. Because sometimes doing shit like Zul'Farrak's fun, you know, but it's probably next to impossible to. Well, maybe not, dude. A lot of people level alts. But if I do level an alt, I don't know what I want to play. I'd hate to play another enhancement shaman, but they're so much fun. It would sure beat the pants off doing this shit all day, wouldn't it? Have to level its blacksmithing. I had a dream I had like I bought like a whole bunch of lottery tickets. I don't know why. It was a strange dream. Like a box full of them, like 1,000 lottery tickets. Yeah, not a great idea probably. Never been a fan of lottery tickets or gambling. Like don't necessarily um, have fun doing it. I mean, like maybe every now and again or whatever, but the casino and stuff is just not fun for me. So I don't understand people that have an addiction to gambling. I guess it just some people. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's like they like gambling as much as I like porn, probably. If only you could combine the two, porn and gambling, pornaling, gamborning. There's got to be a better name for it. How do you combine porn and gambling in one thing? And cigarettes. Porn, gambling, and cigarettes. Oh, Grandma. I wish you were alive today. Porn, gambling, and cigarettes. Right. I mean, there's a way to do it. Porn, gambling, and cigarettes. That woman, I swear. My grandma was something else. You sit there at the casino with a cigarette in each hand and a cup of coffee, just jerking off this robot trying to get a paycheck, right? All goddamn day the woman did it. She'd be on her deathbed and you'd say, you want to go to the casino? And she'd fucking do it and then run the fucking thing and carry the fucking rickshaw behind her, right? Is that everybody? Just 4 people. We need to wait. We only have 4. Wait. Where's this guy? Is that everyone? Let's see. 1, 2. It is. Okay. Derp. Oh, this guy here. He's somewhere here. We could have summoned him. They said because he's when you scrolled over. If only you could just figure out a way to kind of just put all these things into one porno slot machine that dispenses cigarettes. Fucking, I've got your client, right? Right. If your grandma wasn't like that, then I don't know what to tell you. Mine was. Now if I could use AI, right? That's like a perfect thing for like a Sora video generated thing, right? That would be a funny video. I would make myself laugh. Like, there's a way, like, so even though the Sora app's gone, like, they can, um, you can still use the thing. Just there's like not the social media. I didn't really ever download it. I don't really know what it was. I know it's different than VO3, right? Like it's like an actual app, whereas like that's just a feature versus like an actual application or whatever. Regardless, yeah. Before they discontinue it, I need to make that video. That was my grandma. I don't know if she would appreciate me talking about her like that or not. Well, she said some shit about me I didn't appreciate, so still love her more than anything. Beacon, Hunter, we had Druid, Warrior, Rogue. Wow, these look like shiny weapons. Spike Blade with Mongoose. Drake Fist Hammer with Mongoose. Dragon Ball, rather. I think Drake Fist is the tier 1. Are you our tank? Well, he's only got... I wish my fucking bars worked. 7,000 mana, I guess. I guess he's a tank. I don't think we have... does he have a one-hander? I'm sure there's a way to tell, but yeah, he's got Righteous Fury. Clear all this shit out because it's annoying if you don't. I didn't even attack anything. He only had social aggro. Okay, now. All that to do 1,500. Oh, because we were in combat that entire time. Still a shitload of damage. That is the most dragons we've ever slayed. Oh shit. Why is it doing that now? God damn it, quit. Fucking goddamn mouse is messed up. We have a druid healer, so I can get innervate on bosses. That's good. Porn slot machines. If that's not a thing, dude, I don't know why it wouldn't be. You know what I mean? I can tell you guys some fucking stories. I'll eventually. God damn it. I cannot talk about this yet, but it's funny. It is funny. You'll understand at some point in time the way some people are. I don't know. Strange individuals is all. dad guild. It's weird to me that prop paladins wear like magus blades and stuff. You know, you would think like defense-based weapons and all that, but for AoE tanking, man, there's nothing better. How the fuck did we not kill this goddamn crocodile? I think if you can DE and you fucking keep the fucking thing, right? Keep that motherfucking thing, dog. When I said I was gonna go 15. It's a thing. Healers can't go like if it's good DPS. He doesn't necessarily need the innervate. There's no reason to skip the ads on these, really. Especially if he's spell reflecting. You know what I mean? Hourglass of the Unraveler. I don't know why it won't let me click items in my chat. I don't know what add-on that I have that has disabled that feature for whatever reason. Where's EO maggots of all names? Fighting his inner demon apparently. What are you doing, guy? Full rage? Like the fight is over here. Fighting my inner demons. What are you doing? Get the fuck over here. Attack this thing. You're last on DPS. I'm at war with myself. Alright, well, can you do that after? One of these things, dude, it's because I'm always trying to get full mana and all that shit. Like, I'm always like late to the fucking portal party. At what? Cat. Oh, Mrs. Cat. Yeah, I don't know what those words are. This cat did something funny. He says, so he says. I don't know. This cat's funny. Yeah, those ATVs, they've got ATVs that have treads, like a fucking... Remember that thing that, what's his face used to escape the Overlook Hotel? Or no, he didn't escape, he made it to the Overlook Hotel. Where he got his brains bashed in by old Jack Nicholson with his, well, he wouldn't be bashed technically, but you know, whatever. The tank, snow tank thing, right? They make those, the equivalent of those, but like ATVs that have treads on them, like triangular all-terrain vehicles that are pretty cool. Should've gave it a second. Innervate. There we go. So for the entire duration of Innervate, you can free cast Arcane Blast and basically maintain your mana pool. Yep, perfect run. Right, yeah, no, I was thinking the same thing. I'll be right back. Make sure. Spring, Steam Vaults, Underbog, and Dark Portal. Cool. Hey. So with Starlink, does like remind you anywhere on the planet you can get internet through Starlink, right? No, what does adding more satellites do at this point? Increase bandwidth? You know what I mean? Or is it for coverage or for bandwidth, right? That's what I don't know. Data centers in space. I can't believe everybody's betting so big on that, dude. That's crazy, isn't it? You would think like, well, we're here on Earth and shit's super expensive to put into orbit, and you have to send astronauts there every time a graphics card goes out, right? You're like, are you sure? On the surface, it doesn't seem like the greatest idea ever. I mean, eventually, I guess, but land is relatively cheap in the right places, right? It's like, what do you do? Open air the thing? That's the thing. It's like, yeah, do you freaking just leave the thing open air so super cooled all the time? Right? Is that a possibility? But a vacuum won't. How does that work? A vacuum. I wouldn't know based on the science. Like a vacuum won't disperse heat, will it? It's like, oh, temperature. The temperature in space is so cold, right? But I don't know. I guess it doesn't necessarily disperse it, but it is colder. Yeah, I don't know. You tell me. Oh, look. Hey, you know who knows the answer to this? Fucking ChatGPT. ChatGPT knows the answer to this. Could you do an open air data center in space? It's like, no, you moron. I'm just a fucking computer program. I can't really do anything. Could you open air data center in space? Like, would the vacuum space cool the data center? In principle, data center in space could work, but the open air part is a catch. Vacuum does not cool things away. That's what I was thinking. You know, vacuums don't disperse heat. I'm like, I thought I was right about that, but I'm glad to see that I'm right about it. It's like, yeah, just because space is cold, but yeah, vacuums are empty. They don't disperse heat. That's why they make great um, insulators, right? And then there's a math problem here that looks like it says P equal oat 4. So, which is radiated power. Now, this stuff is awesome. I love this kind of thing. Stefan Boltzmann constant radiator area. I wish I knew what it all meant, but you know what I mean. Objects in space lose heat by emitting infrared radiation, where P, and then I don't know what that symbol there is. Umtlau. This works much slower per unit than liquid cooling on Earth. That means the servers need huge radiator panels, heat pipes pumped coolant loops move heat to the radiators. The radiators glow infrared into space. So it's safe to assume that if any other planet were doing this exact same thing, you would be able to detect it by infrared light, the frequency of infrared light then, right? Like if you were looking for a planet to see if they, why does this keep doing that? Hello, would you quit doing that, please? But to look at a planet and what frequency of infrared light, if you know what I mean, like an exoplanet, like we suspect aliens live there. Well, the planet gives off reflects a certain color of light, but if you could detect a specific frequency of infrared light, you would know, like, oh, well, well, I guess the data center space thing works then, right? Probably, but that's something I guess you could pay attention to. But the thing is with telescopes like that, like, I guess based on the technology, how do you get a fucking radiator to emit infrared light? I mean, I know that's just heat, but kind of. You know what I mean? How do you convert heat into infrared light? Not the form of like, well, you're converting the heat. You know what I mean? I understand. Like, it emits infrared light. Is there a way of? This sounds like they're describing it as if it converts heat to even more infrared light than heat already would give off, right? I don't know. Radiator panels, heat pipes, pumped coolant that moves. So it has to emit. It can't just emit heat through like a regular thing, right? So you can't just disperse heat like you would say like a cooling pad or whatever. It's got to be emitted in electromagnetic frequency, right? Or it's got to be emitted on the electromagnetic spectrum, or else it won't, because that's the only thing that can travel through the vacuum of space, right? Essentially, there's no friction there. You know what I mean? There's nothing to transfer the heat to something else, but if you emit it as electromagnetic infrared radiation or whatever you call it, then yeah, I guess that works. But how do you convert that much heat to infrared? I guess just disperse it through I guess that's what that is. Is that going to be an effective way of cooling it? But I wish I knew more about like this kind of thing, heat pumps and all that. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. Deep space is about 2.7 kelvins background temperature, but does not mean objects instantly become cold. A spacecraft in sunlight can become extremely hot. Thermal management in orbit is about balancing absorbed light, reflected sunlight, internal heat generation, infrared radiation outward. What about inward? What about infrared radiation inward? Real world examples. NASA has studied orbital computing and thermal systems extensively. Microsoft, whatever that is, tested underwater data centers with Project Natick, partially motivated by cooling efficiency challenges similar to isolated environments. It just seems like it would make more sense to put them on the ocean or underwater before it would to put them in space. There's no way to just... So like the main stake features, oh yeah, well, space is cold. I'm like, well, so yeah, that's kind of shitty. You would think if you could use that to your advantage in any way, shape, or form, but there's like quite literally appears to be no way to do it that way. Space vacuum, yeah. See, it says right here, Earth, you can use convection and radiation cooling. So you need radiators. Like, okay, can we get into the radiator business then? Because you know they're going to have to build the fucking things. Space radiators, right? That disperse. So they say, right, infrared, but really what they're saying is that it does that anyway. It's not like they convert it to even more infrared. It's just, or the process of doing that is to basically pipe coolant through more surface area, right? And increase the surface area. You get what I'm saying? That the fluid covers, right? Whatever the fluid coolant or whatever it is for the radiator. the way to, I guess the way to do that is to increase the overall surface area or something. What a backwards problem to have, though, right? Yeah, because people, like, I thought at first, I'm like, no, but right, vacuums don't fucking transfer heat. So there's like no friction between atoms to disperse the heat to somewhere else or whatever. So how do you more efficiently convert heat to infrared light? I wish I knew how to spell efficiently. Yeah. High emissivity radiator coatings. Some materials emit infrared much better than others. Black anodized aluminum, carbon nanotubes, which I fucking know, dude. Graphene and carbon nanotubes. If you've ever read like what the what instance are we doing? If you've ever read what carbon nanotubes and all that shit are able to do, not to mention it's made from like one of the most abundant materials on the planet. You know, anything, basically anything life, carbon based, whatever, you can burn and convert into these things, which are like not monoatomic, but one atom thick layers of carbon that you can layer like you're making lasagna, and it gives it like these superpowers pretty much. It's like near room temperature, not superconductor, but like really good conductor at room temperature. Conducts electricity really well, disperses heat and all that stuff. They make graphene batteries and all that stuff. What are we doing here? But it's based. Is it like the thing is like if you can invest in fucking converting? I tell you, graphene, man, look it up. Nanotubes are made from something similar, right? We need a fifth person. Where's our fifth guy? Oh, they're just sitting inside the table there. We're gonna soothe our way through this, or are we gonna fucking actually do the instance? So, space radiators. Let's get into the space radiator business, Dad. I think it's gonna be a good one. Yeah, like, the vacuum of space. Yeah, that poses a problem. Yeah, too bad the Earth is flat. Right. Now, if you could create something that a type of solar panel, like if you could use the heat dispersion part of it to also run a turbine. You know what I mean? you'd have the thermal part plus the energy part down. Like a twofer. They call those twofers. It's a textbook definition of a twofer. Oh, come on now. Say deja vu. This fucking, how do you goddamn break this fucking crowd control? Or the sheep or whatever, not sheep, but whatever it's called. I don't have a healing potion either. For fuck's sakes, dude. Got a 10-minute long mind control. Can you dispel that? I guess you'd probably still have solar panels, but you'd have an external, well, a radiator that also doubled as a heat pump. That's not impossible, right? And then you'd have extra panels for extra electricity, I guess, right? As long as you can make it all a closed loop where there's no like moving parts or as minimal, you know what I mean? Because it's like anytime you start adding moving parts to anything is where the thing breaks, you know what I mean? But if you can make like a solid state kind of, I know it's not necessarily considered solid state, but where, you get what I'm saying? Where there's, it's not like, you get what I'm talking about, right? The least amount of moving parts is humanly possible. Oh, almost at it. Need to cast a vengeance. I didn't know he cast that quick. Oh, I actually didn't press it, apparently. It's queer eye for the Draenei. Did I win the nether last time? I think I did, dude. I got 5 nethers now. That's like 500 gold, basically. the same layout as Sethic Halls, isn't it? Right, this part right here. Where the Guardians are all that. Standing right here. Immune to sheep. I shouldn't be tanking. I guess I don't remember those guys being immune to sheep. Hey! Hey! Why'd you shoot at me? And that might be a wipe. Maybe not. Enhancement shaman should shoot these guys up. That was kind of lame. I fucking. I got. Just insta-gibbed almost, right? Yeah, I can't really blame anybody for that. They both turned and fucking double palm pyroed me or whatever. And I wish they added something that made this just a little more difficult, right? And better rewards. But what I like about... Oh, no! Yeah, I don't think you're going to be resable. But like when they add Zolomon and all that stuff. Yeah, the guy's like practically, I fucking don't know where he's at. Hello. Yeah, it's been a while since I lifted and all that stuff. I looked in the mirror earlier and I still look pretty good. I'm not necessarily as distraught as I thought I was about whatever loss and gains and stuff that I had. I can get it all back pretty quick. Um, More or less, just basically probably an hour a day and then an hour's worth of cardio. Like morning, half an hour, like 4 15-minute sessions throughout the day, whatever. I just need to. It'd be very helpful of me to have like just to have more shit to do, but just be like a more active individual. And I'll run myself ragged for like 2 or 3 hours at the gym, and then I'll get home and do nothing. Whereas like if you get your steps in, everybody talks about getting your goddamn steps in, right? If I were to, which I say like that, no, really what amounted to me doing like 4 or 5 hours a day worth of shit. When it got to after all the all the running around plus lifting plus CrossFit plus 2 and 3 hour long calisthenics sessions and stuff, yeah. So I'll be able to work the weight off, right? An extra few pounds that I've gained in my midsection and a few pounds of muscle that I've lost. Once I fuel back up, you know what I mean? Switch to about 400 carbs a day and 220 grams of protein. I should get it all back pretty quick. I need to be eating about 4,000 calories a day. Right now I'm eating about 3,200. Yar, 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 yar. This is like my last break before I have like a whole fucking oh, there's too many ostriches, all the time about everything. There's just so much. There's gonna be so much shit going on, basically. Hopefully. So like the problem before was that I had an open calendar. So like, what do you do when you get bored? Well, fill it in with more running around like a fucking crazy person, right? Like that eventually caught up with me after almost 3 years, right? Well, this go around I'll have like a work schedule and stuff hopefully that requires me to be present and like doing things. It's not just like you get bored, what do you do? I'll do fucking I'll do a couple thousand push-ups in while I'm bored, right? And then that's like after I've already done sometimes 3 hours of weight training plus a half hour of cardio in the morning and then a running and then another half hour of running after, and then like 1,000 or so push-ups when I got home. Like I know they say it's like the thing is like, yeah, that's going to deprive you of gains. I'm like, yeah, but I don't have anything else to do, right? I really don't. So as much as it's a necessity for me to have like a woman in my life, basically is what it means, right? And I can't help it that bitches be particular. Can't help it that bitches be so particular. Right. They're not too particular, but I can't necessarily just shack up with any random person. I've got my own reasons as to why, and you know what I mean. If you know me, you know me. Like I'm a particular, not a vulnerable, emotionally a vulnerable individual, but I'm vulnerable in a whole other category of things where like I've got to be like really on point, and like these people need to be vetted before I get near them, kind of thing. Just because people complicate shit, and I've got too much to lose, and it sucks having to live that way, but it's sort of the territory. I wish it weren't. I wish people were better than that, but. Cool. Enhancement shamans here should probably be like top DPS. Yeah, he is. 'Cause you have to imagine how many like snakes and thieves and liars and stuff that there are. So, especially in a town like this where people are like, if, trust me, if you knew how they've treated me, not, like people that don't even know me, and I mean like they've gone above and beyond, not just at like one individual not liking me, like talk about like an entire town of people that just don't like you, you know what I mean, and how they're sewing circles, you know, these fat-faced fucking church bitches that all sit there and nag and nag and nag and think God's about just talking shit about your neighbor or not helping them and all that. So you can imagine why it is that I don't necessarily try to attend church. Yeah. But that's kind of like the people that I've experienced, right? So, and they have their like vendetta against me. They have their, well, we just don't talk about it, but we all know how much we really don't like this guy, so treat him accordingly, right? To the point where I had to go through a court thing, right? And on another thing where whenever my sentence was finished, they refused to let me go. Like, and I said to them, I said, well, the guy here told me, the probation officer or whatever, he's like, yeah, you were supposed to be off probation like 3 months ago. I'm like, well, or not. At first, I'm like, he said I was supposed to be released, and he goes, well, the court sent me paperwork. Not the court clerk told him this, right? So the lady that's supposed to be just counting up the days, like, yeah, you're still on probation for another 3 months, and I'm like, why? I can't, he's like, yeah, I don't know, man. He's like, I counted up all the days. You've certainly served your sentence, right? Like 1 year probation, right? Basically, just to prove to me that it's retarded. Basically, I was protesting a law, you know, I don't agree with, and they were like, he's like, yeah, they're just not trying to hear it. Like, how do you, what do you mean? I've served my sentence. You're not trying to hear that you're like, I'm supposed to be released from this shit. I've served my time. Yeah, they're not trying to hear it. He's like, yeah, I counted up all the days. Yeah, you were supposed to be off this 90 days ago. I'm like, you understand that my entire life has consisted of like county clerks and paper badge bitches off the internet that print their, you know, Arizona State Online University people, like social workers and things telling me that I'm not allowed to have freedom, right? Like, why is it that like you are by law required? Like, well, you can hire a lawyer. I'm like, you mean to tell me that I need to hire a lawyer for you to let me be free? Like, that doesn't sound fair. That doesn't sound right, does it? I've got all the text messages and everything. And I don't necessarily want to get mad at the person that told me that, because it was like a don't shoot the messenger kind of thing. But no, these people, they don't like me. The person that they thought was the head honcho for a while paid them $1 million, bribed them, like the town, like bought them a $1 million fire engine and stuff for their police and fire department. And like all of the county clerks and all of the city people, and like the guy hired like all of their relatives and stuff and employed the entire police force of this town that I live in, right? And they treat me like shit. Fucking some people don't, most do. I can't get a fucking, if I wanted to, I couldn't get employment, you know what I mean? They won't even deliver food to my house. So, and I'm not like complaining just for the sake of complaining, but you know, understand, say discrimination, if for whatever reason it is. I don't care if it's the color of your skin or whatever they say, right? I mean, it is what it is. So, eventually I've got some kind of lawsuit, civil suit against these people if the statute of limitations. But here's the thing: they kept me in jail for a period of time where the statute of limitations for me to sue about something else expired, unless I wanted to try and organize the lawsuit from behind bars, which I couldn't do, you know, for obvious reasons, you know. Uh, not to mention, not necessarily with a lot of resources at hand to hire lawyers and do all this shit, right? So they purposely kept me in jail longer so the statute of limitations would run out on my malicious prosecution and all that. My malicious prosecution lawsuit, right? They're all gonna look like fucking idiots by the end of it, I know that much. Because the one thing I say is, um, accomplice after the fact, right? It's like, little did they know what crimes they were really covering up for somebody. You know, and it's like, well, that's why it's good to be, you know, an honest, good individual if you're in law enforcement, because these people were on the payroll of somebody who did some very terrible things to me and other people, and they don't know what that is yet, but they didn't care. They took the paycheck regardless, and it was one of those, like, we'll cover it up no matter what it is, and if I told you some of the stuff that I know that they covered up, you know, and I just can't get into it right now, that's all, you know, and I will in the future, though, I promise you. I'm working on it, like, right now. But the fact of the matter is like, whatever. So they might all think that they were just playing cowboys and Indians and beating up on somebody they didn't like at some point in time, but they're going to find out what they were really doing was covering up some pretty terrible shit. And it's like, well, we didn't know that. It's like, yeah, but you have to make the argument that that would have stopped you. It's like, based on your behavior of being a corrupt police officer or a corrupt public official, a corrupt judge, you know what I mean, a corrupt lawyer or whatever, based on the fact that you were no holds barred, quid pro quo, paid to basically just carry this guy's water and make all of his problems go away and cover up his crimes and all that shit, you're like, yeah, that's what criminals do, and that's how criminal enterprises and organizations work. You take the paycheck, you don't necessarily know what you're trying to cover up at some point in time, you just know that that's your job to do it, right? Well, there are consequences for doing that. You know, the defense of, well, I didn't know that, isn't going to be a defense at all for that kind of thing, is all, right? Because accomplices, like, you can sit there and say, you can make the argument, and I would say accurately so, that to be an accomplice to something, right? I mean, pleading ignorant to what you're an accomplice to, you know, is not necessarily a defense. you were essential in this crime being committed. Your criminal participation, whether it be through negligence in enforcing the law, you know what I mean, you're still an accomplice. And the guy only made a documentary where he bragged about doing it, you know what I mean, before he did it. And that's not the only candy trail that he left to, like, what his true intentions are and what he was really doing and all that stuff. He's the type of guy that likes to really just fuck people over in public and brag about it and tell you he's going to do it and bite his thumb at you and everything while he does it and everything. Like, there's a reason why the guy refused to face extradition to the United States. He chose to kill himself instead because he knew once he got here what they were really going to do to him. The law, right? He's like, yeah, we'll just use all these things to get him here, but whenever he gets here, then it's all of this other shit, you know? And it never really got to that point because he unfortunately killed himself, right? Fortunately, unfortunately. But all the crimes that his cronies committed don't just disappear because he's gone. That's the thing. Like, not only $1 million bribe at one point in time to, like, an entire police slash public safety department here where I live is, it's a joint public safety department that's like the police and the fire department. You know, they share a building and all that stuff. And and he made $1 million bribe to them. He bought them a fire truck, $1 million worth of a bribe, and then employed nearly every one of the police officers at some point in time, and very specifically, the person who organized the entire thing was actually on the run with him when this happened to me. When the cops showed up here, waving a pistol around in my face and without a warrant, and stealing my computers and destroying my life savings. They kept talking about this guy that was everybody knew took over as John's head of security after he parted ways with his previous head of security. And these guys were pulling a pistol on me. They were saying, "Oh yeah, like we used to have to sit outside John's door, and we'd have to, and I had to pull my pistol on him one time because he was acting crazy, like threatening me in my own home, on camera." And then they destroyed a combined 36 hours worth of body camera footage amongst the 4 officers while they trounced around my house while I wasn't here. And then one of the officers got caught taking pictures of the crime scene they created and sent it to the guy to show him like a job well done kind of thing. All because he was a paranoid, delusional old man, basically. I didn't see the cops kicking his door down when he falsely accused his wife of having to try and kidnap him, which is strange. The guy's a fucking liar. But he had a group of people that he would accuse of things and then would pay them to admit that they did it. So then it would like kind of reinforce this delusion of whatever. And then it got to the point where he got to me and I said, "I'm not playing this game with you." You know what I mean? And because of that, he paid the cops to raid my home without a warrant and steal my computers, destroy my life savings, and I have yet to fully recover. This was 7 or 8 years ago now. Why are we not fucking, no. If I get like one more heal and don't get crit here, we should. It's a pretty good belt. I don't think I've ever seen it drop before. Yeah, so I'll get my day in court eventually on all this. That's all. Because I'm fairly sure that, without getting into the nitty gritty of it, but like, what do you call it when like one guy organizes like a group of people and pays them all to commit crimes and then pays another group to cover up the crimes the other wing of this thing committed, and it involves extortion and blackmail and all this like and criminal enterprise stuff, right? I mean, what do you do about it? Threatening witnesses, among other things. So I'll get my day in court. Jerry. Anyway, what time is it? Unless we're gonna